in our show. Let me first introduce Mark once again for our listeners who are new on our show. Mark is the guru of Emerging Markets Asset Group and is currently the managing partner of Mobius Capital Partners. Mark was the chairman of Templeton Emerging Markets and was managing $40 billion, which he created single-handedly when he started with Templeton. Mark has written several books and has been on boards of IMS and several other think tanks. Interestingly, Mark has just released the book, which we are also going to talk on our show today. It's called The Inflation Myth and the Wonderful World of Deflation. Interesting, Welcome back, Mark. And to begin with your latest book, could you brief our listeners about it and how does it apply to India's inflation control and fiscal measures and fiscal planning? It seems to be a paradox.
Yes, that's right. By the way, here's the picture of the book that we have just came out. And yes, I mean, the whole premise of the book is, first of all, the measures of inflation are very faulty because the basket that's used to measure inflation from one point to the other constantly changing. So it does not really give a good reflection of what is happening in the economy. And one of the reasons why I wrote the book was because I see that central banks around the world depend on inflation numbers. In fact, they even target inflation of 2% in order to bolster economic growth. But it's very faulty because the inflation measures themselves are not accurate and are quite faulty. That's number one. Number two, the reality is that, yes, inflation in terms of money going into goods and services is going up. In other words, the amount of money you need to buy something goes up. But at the same time, wages and incomes go up. And at the end of the book, I point that out. Even in India, I have numbers which show that wages and salaries, incomes have gone up greater than the increase in the so-called inflation rates that's being measured. So the whole premise of the book is that because of this, we are actually in a deflation. In other words, because of the advances in technology, we are seeing things getting cheaper and cheaper. So we're in an amazing period of mankind's history where technology is making our lives much easier, much simpler, and much cheaper in terms of our income. So I think this is a very important lesson for all of us, that we must begin to love deflation. A lot of people ask me, why is deflation good? Well, the beautiful thing about deflation is that for the lower of the society, they benefit the most because goods and services for them go down as it does for the rich people, but it impacts the poor people the most. So inflation hurts the poor people, deflation helps them.
Excellent.